Recording. Good morning, everybody.
One.
Um, this was an interesting week. Instead of working on any big new features, instead I just decided to work on a lot of small little things that people have been asking for, and it was a good week. And I also got to use the engine quite a lot myself, which was very fun. Let's see, what did we do? We've got the some of the fine tuning of animation features that were requested last week. We've got those, so you can extract an animation sequence from an animated model to split those up and then you can remove animations sequences. You can load an animation from another model. Let's see. We have this is a very amazing feature. Dashed lines. Ooh.
Yeah,
Um,
I posted a bug. With older maps, it's kind of bugged.
are they in the same project?
Yeah, I updated the X1 project, and it was only after I made like a cylinder to carve something. I now have it, but only in one viewport.
Okay, I'll take a look. Um,
Yeah,
let's
I
see. We
posted in
have
bug report.
okay, and
Oh,
like we said, we've got the size labels are now showing up, so you can see how tall things are. By the
mm.
way, I noticed that the vent that vent cover is 128 by 128 centimeters. Just
Which vent cover?
for the vents in the XForm map. The
Um, yeah, that's that's yeah. I had a eyeball it and looked at the developer textures to get it right. That's what they should be.
well, your eyeball is 128 centimeters wide.
Yeah.
FYI. Okay,
Oh,
which is
okay.
good. It's a nice big power of two number, so those are easy to work with. Um, Selection will be shown with most mouse. Oh yeah, scale mouse tool. A small like minor thing you might not even notice, but the selection tools,
Mhm.
they're all showing this outline now. That wasn't there before. And I found that was necessary because it looks really weird if you just have an object floating there and if you have these two numbers floating there.
Yeah.
Like if it's a box, it looks fine, but if you have multiple objects selected and then you just have this number floating in space, then it looks really weird if you don't have this bounding box around the
Right.
selection. So
Did you look at the bug? I'm sorry to distract you. Did you look at the bug where if you move a brush in the 3D viewport, the actual outlines get left behind?
when was that posted?
That was posted either on Thursday or Wednesday. I can. It's in. I post a lot of bugs, but they kind of get pushed down, or they're
Okay,
not really
I haven't
described.
seen that one yet, but I'll take a
Right.
look.
Yeah.
Um, Viewport refresh, adjusting a little bit.
You also got grid snapping, which screwed me up. I thought the editor was broken.
Oh, it's an option up here.
Yeah. Yep. Because I was trying to first that's my corners nicely, and it was snapping, and I was losing my mind.
Oh, okay. It looks like it's actually disabled by default. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, we can just change that, and then I mean it's easy to change once you know it's there. This up here, this is something I like a lot actually. I like these toolbar buttons.
Yeah.
I'm tr-
I knew this little bit of a bleed over with the scene view and the flow graph, like part of the other button is darkened. I think you can see that on yours. It's
Where's
just a
that
minor like look at like the edge of that button of the flow graph button. See how it's like a little bit dark on the left?
on the left? Uh, I
Yeah.
I can't see it on my 15-inch monitor.
Well, it's probably more. I'll probably it's probably more noticeable on like a 1080p 100%
Well,
scale.
this is 1080p, but
Um,
I'll have to I'll screenshot it and then take a closer
yeah.
look.
Mhm.
These are very handy, and I'm trying to. I really want the toolbar to only be like things that you use all the time. I don't want to just fill it up with buttons just to have buttons.
Yeah, I really like that because sometimes although I probably don't go to 3 or 2 view a lot, I do go to like full screen and then that's my viewports when I'm like
Yeah,
looking
switching
around and
between
like
these, I use this all the time.
yeah, and y- yeah, so
And that's a lot nicer than having to navigate like that.
yeah, but maybe the full screen the viewport should it, be right next to the I don't know, but it's because I mostly go from 4 to full, but some people might want to use 3.
What, have four and one next to each other?
Yeah, but it might be beneficial to me, but not for everyone else. So I think it's fine how it is. It's
Hmm.
just
You could place the full on the left, and then it goes from full to 4 to 3 to 1. Yeah. Set the 4 viewports on the left. You could place the single viewport on the left, and then it goes to the 4, to the 3, and to the 2.
But four is the default. I started originally it was this the single viewport button was on the left, and then it was one, two, three, four, and then it just felt more intuitive to me to have the default, the normal one on the left, and so I reversed the order 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, you will notice a small, just a small touch, but the toolbar buttons should be a lot more visible now.
yeah.
Somebody was asking about changing the colors, and I took a look at them, and I was like, yeah, they are kind of hard to see. Um, oh yeah, the translate gizmo is finished, so that's how.
I was thinking about it, maybe the arrows are too skinny. Sometimes you can't see the arrows, but I don't know if that's just me or
Well, you mean the tips of here?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe those are a little bit small. That could be adjusted. Um,
Well, um, something like I want to bring up. I mentioned this before is like models like when you export the models and then re-import them, like your Gizmo, not like when I got the when I got the model, the FBX or the GLTF model,
mhm.
the faces were not sewn together. So
The what?
the faces, the planes were not like sewn together.
I don't understand.
Like if you like a model is it's like combined, it's like all like stitched together. And so when you take a face and then you try to move it, the other faces around it bend towards the edges around it. Your model and the models like we're using, like you just select the face, you move it out, and you have that face. Like it doesn't like warp. I can show you in Blender, but finish your demonstration
Okay,
first.
yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
okay, so you have parameters for colliders, so that makes it a lot easier to you can generate them, and then um, you can adjust them as you wish. So, and I actually did use that for. I was using that for some of the stuff on Xform. Um, So real quick, let's just set this. Let's give it a box glider. And by default, that will fit around the object very nicely. But if it's something that where I want it, if I want it to be changed, then I can always modify the size or rotation or whatever I want.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah, that's
A
very
lot,
nice to have.
lot less need for custom colliders. I think the only need you would need for custom collider now is if you need like to make like a tube or something, and you want like the blade like to crawl
Oh
into that
yeah,
tube.
yeah, yeah, yeah. For shapes that, yeah. Okay. Let's see. File requester. Oh, when you add a new mesh layer to the scene, you can now select multiple files in the file requester, which is kind of nice because then you can just like I'm splitting trees and things up in like all these pine trees are all in the same folder, and there's like 7 or 8 variations of them. And so you can just you can select all the model files in one folder, and then it'll just create variations for all of them. And then you just start painting, and the trees just appear wherever you paint them. So this is very cool. Let's see. And all my varieties of pine trees. You've got big ones, you've got little ones. They just appear. This was really what I wanted to have happen with this system. And I'm very happy with that. Let's see. And then, like, I guess Friday, I mostly switched over to bug fixes, and it sounds like I've got some more of those to do. But yeah, this was a good week to get some things done that people have been asking for, just small little features in the editor, and then at the same time, I got to start experimenting with a lot of outdoor landscape type stuff. So this is what I'm working with right now. One little thing I discovered, just a small, minor thing, but when you're making cliffs, like you want like flat ground and then you want rock coming out of the ground, it's actually best to make this transition right here as sharp as possible. I kind of discovered this by walking around in the game Dear Esther. It actually looks better if this, like right here, if this is as sharp as you can possibly make it. And then the rock is just like jutting out of the earth, and then it looks less like, less like a sheet, like draped over everything. But that's kind of a small little, detail I discovered. This area here. Another thing I kind of figured out is when you're making outdoor environments, it's actually better to make things as constrained as possible. Like it's kind of unintuitive, but big open landscapes are not that interesting. What's more interesting is when your movement is very tightly constrained, and it looks like there's a big open world, but you just can't get to it. And it's kind of like, I think of it as like a European city versus like an American suburb. Like in something like this, in something like this, it's like you've got your trail, and then you've got your cliff on one side, you've got your cliff on the other side. And I just placed some trees down there because, like, I always notice, like, when I'm hiking, if you're like hiking next to this crevasse of some type, when you have trees growing up out of it, and then you're eye level with the trees, it really gives you a feeling of like, wow, I'm up high. It just reminds you, like, of how high you are, and it kind of makes you afraid of falling down there. But just a couple of little things I noticed as I start to put these together. And one question for you guys. Okay, so if you had models like this that were ready to use with the LODs and colliders and everything set up, and an example scene, would you pay $45 for that?
I'm not a big. If it's outdoor and I need it, and if the license is do whatever you want, yeah. But I think one thing that would really make me like want it is if I had like the source files too with it, like the
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
GLCF, and so I can go in and say, oh, I want a different variation of this rock. Because the big reason why I don't like using other people's assets is because you only get like the compiled version or the just the game version end version of it,
Hmm.
and you're kind of like locked in. Like I didn't like the models you shipped with Legworks were not really helpful because like I couldn't like change the skin, or I couldn't decompile the texture, or I couldn't do like anything like useful to make it like more unique.
Well, also in Ultra, we can export
Yeah,
as
well, I'm
GLTF and
just
OBJ at any time. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah, something else I've found is like models aren't really that useful unless it's like a complete set and a complete scene, because it's very easy for things like for content from different sources to look very what's the word, for them to clash with one another. So these are the trees that I've been working with. I think I'm gonna edit a lot of stuff out and just focus on that one's switching the LEDs really close because I was testing it. I think I'm gonna try to use like I'm not gonna use everything I have. I'm just gonna use the best stuff and try to focus on making it better. One thing I did here is I replaced the texture that this was using for the branches, and that's why it looks better. A couple of screenshots that I posted last week.
Yeah, these look amazing. It's probably the lighting. Um, the lighting is key to everything. If you have bad lighting, the whole thing falls apart.
Well, I have the God Rays effect here, which brightens things up a bit. But I think what I did here is I used a very very bright light at a very low angle, and what that does is I think it kind of bleaches out the bark here, and that's why it looks so good. Not much ground cover here because I was just kind of getting things set up. But that was a good technique. And then here we have a lot more ground cover, of course, and that looks pretty good. So yeah, that first image, it's really just it really just came down to the lighting is what makes it look good. And I also these textures here are also upsampled. This is like I upsampled the bark textures like 4 times. So these are like 1024 by 4096, and it does look quite good when.
What's your environment settings for this scene here?
Let's take a look. Well, let's actually see if we can get. Let's just play around with the settings and see what happens. So as you go brighter, you kind of need to go like less saturated. And then, oh, I'm not using any post-processing effects here. Let's get some on there. Let's try tone mapping first. Let's add bloom. God rays. It's getting brighter and brighter. We'll have to tone it down. SSAO. And you want SSAO to be first, really. And you probably want tone mapping to go last.
Yeah, something I get confused is the order of post processing. I don't know if the editor should like recommend like
No,
certain orders, but
I don't think so.
maybe like a guide or maybe like on the learn page, maybe you can, when you talk about post processing, you should like say, hey, ideally you want like this is the order that you want your post processes to be, and this is the reason. Like
Yeah.
just like a reference guide. This way you're not like looking
Yeah,
at.
for sure. So that's... Oh, that's really bright. Let's take it down a little bit. Oh, it looks pretty good. I'm not even sure if I want the bloom. Oh, I like it.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Save that.
Another suggestion is I really like, I wish you can toggle the post processing layer without actually removing it, so you can actually see if you actually want it or not.
Just have like a
adding it.
checkbox next to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, actually.
it's,
Fog also has a very nice effect. And that really helps with like at a distance. It makes things look a lot better. Yeah, another thing I found is like just having a field of trees like we have out here. This is really not very interesting. And at the same time, it's also expensive to render because there's layers and layers of trees. Things tend to look a lot better when you have like a backdrop. Kind of like what we have here. We have, something behind the trees that tends to look better, and at the same time, it also is less expensive. And I started noticing this a lot in different games. Dear Esther and Crisis are two that I've been looking a lot at, and you'll notice it's always like a cliffside along the ocean. They don't tend to do, and it also makes sense like where people tend to go hiking is in areas like this. They don't usually go hiking like in the flat land in the middle of, Kansas or wherever it's that flat, because it's just not that interesting. So it's kind of like you're not just making a big open landscape. It's sort of like you want it to be more like a guided tour, where they go through and the whole thing is sort of a curated ride through the mountains, not just walking straight through. Like stuff like this just doesn't look that great. So that's kind of interesting. Let me turn this around here. All right. Is Marcel around?
Not in this chat.
Has he said anything about our hands?
No, I don't think so.
Last like a couple days ago, he said he was almost done.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's I think next week. Right now, I'm not going to really like plan what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna. It'll be like last week where I just will work on whatever. And we'll have some DLCs coming up, focusing on outdoor nature stuff. So
Question about the DLCs. I know you're gonna put them on Steam, but how are you gonna distribute them for people who use the standalone version?
I don't know yet.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, there's a few different ways that could be done, but we'll see. Do you want to show me that thing with what you were talking about in Blender?
Yeah, I can. Let me just get it up. I want to show you a lot of things actually. So I'm just gonna open the doors because that's what caught my attention. So, all right, let me just share my screen.
As long Reap is starting, maybe some cool feature would also be that you can save presets for the environment settings.
Up here?
Yeah.
Import or export them, and then you could share them maybe.
Yeah. I think I asked this a little bit a while ago because with Cyclone, all the maps use the same environment settings, and I had to copy and paste them over, and it was really annoying. I kind of want to just make a environment profile and just load everything. It could just be a JSON file with just all the data.
Yeah, that would be pretty handy. We could have like a button right here that's like load and another one that's save.
Yeah. So you could share them with the community also.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right. So this is the door model. Sorry. This is the door model. It's all textured and everything. It's all UV. But when you model something in Blender, I'm just gonna make something real quick, like a cube or something. When you edit the faces, everything is stitched together, so you can, move it around and everything's fine. And all the faces stretch accordingly. Because the door is exported from Blender and then goes to a UV program and then goes to Substance and then it goes back into Blender, what tends to happen is you get that. And that means that there's more faces than what's needed.
Wait.
So
what just happened?
I took the face and I took it out. This should be one.
So the vertices. Okay, so in most programs, like if two vertices have different UV chords or normals, then they're two different vertices.
Right, but my question is are we doubling our vertex budget because we're exporting and re-exporting and then these faces get unsewn?
I can tell you this has nothing to do with Substance.
No, it's not with Substance. It's not with Substance. It's how the model is exported and then re-imported, and
No, because like the same thing's going to happen when you put it into a GLTF file when it goes to
Right.
Ultra. Like two different, like a lot of modeling programs, they'll sort of merge the vertices and they'll have a separate indice list for normals and UVs.
Hmm.
And I think that's how Blender is keeping track of like which objects are which vertices are the same. And then when you export it, most 3D model formats say that each vertex is unique in its. I mean, if two vertices
So
like
it'll
it
auto.
has a paradigm of one indice list. So if two vertices have different normals or UV chords, they're two different vertices. So this I wouldn't worry about that at all.
Okay,
That's not a problem.
that's all right. That's what I was like worried about because I was worried that because of this pipeline, we were doubling our vertex budget
Now you
because.
can have issues where like that face you have selected right there, that should be four vertices. It is
Hmm.
possible that that could be six vertices. In which case, you that's why you sometimes need like a weld operation, which I plan to add into Ultra because I've actually been noticing that a lot of things that I unwrap from things that I export from Unwrap 3D. Sometimes I'll use Unwrap 3D to like uh, to create LODs, and then I'll export it as an OBJ file, and then I'll load it into Ultra, and I'll notice that the if you see that the vertex count is three times the triangle count or the polygon count, then that probably means that every single polygon, every vertex in every polygon is unique, and that's where the that weld operation would be really handy.
So, so this would be fine then because this is the same model. We only have 732 and 580 polygons.
Yeah, if it was
Okay.
1500, 1600 for whatever, then that would be bad.
Okay.
But that looks correct to me.
Okay.
One little thing I noticed on this is this using a mesh collider.
Yes, it should be. It should be. I don't know why it's not showing. I thought it's. Oh no, this
It
is GLTF
probably is
version.
because
I'm
it's
sorry. That's the
oh
GLTF
okay.
version. I gotta look up the MDL version. It's similar. Yep. View look like there it is.
Okay, so you want to use a box collider for this.
Yep, it is using about. I This is before you updated it.
Oh, okay.
This is a custom one, so it fits right where that door is.
What
So
is it?
the
Is it a
hand,
box or is it a model? Is it a mesh?
it's a mesh because I want to know because this is before you made that update,
Yeah, yeah.
and I wanted to get an exact size because I don't want these. I don't want the I only want the panel of the door to have a collision. I don't want the handles to have a
Right, of
collision.
course. Okay, so mesh colliders are static because they don't have volume.
Okay.
So for this, you'll want to use a box, and now you
And then
can
like
do that thing that since you've got the properties.
When we about the mesh colliders, I posted a bug with the mesh collider and the player movement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll have to. I haven't. I have a pretty good guess at what's going on there, but I haven't had time to.
I actually think it's because we're using cylinders for collider, not capsules. And the most things you use normally a capsule and deactivate the rotation factors so you don't fall off. And yeah, this is why the collider is moving smoothly over small edges and all the stuff.
I think I
Because
can
this
tell. I
this
think I can
capsule
tell you
mount.
what's going on. I don't know for sure yet, but Let's see. Am I still streaming? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is what's happening. So the collider works like this. There's the foot and there's the body. Oh, can't draw a straight line with a mouse. This is your player.
Yes.
And they walk up to here, and when it performs a volume raycast starting here and going down, and that's how it steps upstairs. That's the first thing it does. And so when it comes up to here, where it gets to the edge, the foot hits the ground here, the flat ground, and it jumps up the stair. That's what normally happens. I suspect what's going on. I haven't looked at it yet because I'm gonna have to go into a modeling program and look very closely.
It's not a stair. It's just if you watch in the bug report, there's a video. It's just a flat surface where it has problems.
There's a little bit of a step though. It's a very small one, right?
No, it's in Blender itself. It's a normal face, so there is no small step or anything.
It's flush with the floor.
It's the exact height with the floor. You can see in the bug report.
Let me see.
It's a bit more. There, collider gets stuck when moving. There's the link with
All right,
the.
let's take a look.
There's a small edge, but the other doors.
Well, I see a small little threshold that he's getting stuck on, right?
The gray part should be flat.
Really?
Here in this door, for example, yeah, the gray, the part should be flat here also.
Okay. Here's what I think might be happening. I think when I get, because I've seen this happen before, when I get the model open, I think I'm going to zoom in on that area, and I think it's going to be like, I think it's going to look like this. I think it's going to be raised a little bit, but we'll find out. If it looks like this, then what will happen is, well, that would still, I don't know. I'll look into it. Did you model the little house yourself here?
Yeah.
It looks
I
cool.
sent it to you on Discord, so I think a few weeks ago. If you look in our chat, you can maybe find it and can download it, so you can see what's going on exactly. I
Okay.
think it's a good example.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Okay, so that was posted Monday. All right.
Alright.
What else have you got?
I did the tunnels while we were chatting.
Oh. Tunnels.
Yeah, the vents.
Let's take a look back. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you come out of this vent, I gotta make the rest of the vent. This is gonna go to nowhere, but the idea that you fall out here, come over here. This is the area I want to show. I have some arch here. Doesn't look as good because I used the carve tool. And
That's fine.
yeah, but gross. But no, it is really gross because this is gonna be really, really hard to retexture. Instead of you could probably get away with, like, if I had an arch tool, I could probably do this in like 8 brushes instead of like how many brushes it took to do this. But
It would still be
Yeah.
the same number because it's concave
Maybe,
shape.
but this looks gross. When you come from Blender, well, Hammer, it's pretty much like a crime against humanity to use the carve tool. only because it like
Oh
screws up
yeah, yeah.
the BSP. But so this is so the offices are supposed to be very uniform, very. We want them. We want them like very like we want it like boxy, but not too boxy. Kind of want to break it up a little bit. But it's supposed to be very uniform. It's supposed to be the cleaner um part of the map,
Hmm.
and this will like demonstrate cleaner materials and light and sunlight and everything. But when you go down here, I want to demonstrate tessellation. I want to demonstrate. I want to have like puddles of water here. Um,
So it's more like organic,
yeah, and
kind
I
of.
want to show off the shadow maps with the fan. I'm gonna have like a light shine through here, and the fan's gonna be moving. It's kind of gonna be like that Librix 2 demo where
Need
you
a
see.
few barrels on top of the thing if you want to have water paddles on the ground. Otherwise, how should the water come into this room?
Well, I want like pipes here, or
Uh,
something, and we could do something with particles and everything.
Is this a pool?
Um, well, what I want to do is if I had some sort of I could do this in Blender too, but it'd be really great if I had a displacement tool. I want to like make this like all like dirt and everything, put like a texture with tessellation on it, and then make a brush and make that like inexpensive water. And then if the face of the displacement or whatever goes below, like if the water's like high enough, the water will actually clip through and make the puddle. And that's kind of what I was going for. But I just wanted to have this deep in, and we'll put like barrels stuck in the grind or whatever, and then the player will go through here, and the monster will be placed here. This is where you're gonna face your first enemy. So, and then I want to do like a security office or something, and do the whole key card thing again, because you're obviously because I don't want the player just to run past the enemy. I want them to actually find the key card, and they can't find the key card easy if they're being attacked.
So they have to stop for some reason. They can't just
Yeah,
skip it.
yeah, right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so
This reminds me of
right.
like some of the scenes in the 1979 or whatever film Stalker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you could place the keycard behind one of these vents.
maybe, but I was thinking like just using this negative space here to put like an office or something, or a security office, or because these are going to be doors here, and the idea is that you have to get security clearance to come through here. So, but I just gotta extend the vent here. I'm gonna make this like one brush thin, and then you're just gonna fall through, and there's gonna be a corner here, so it looks like it's bigger than it was, like we did here. That goes nowhere. So I'm just gonna need a fan here. I don't know if I'm gonna like just do a rough mock-up, and then someone who's better at modeling is gonna redo it. But I just want something to cover this. This doesn't have to be very high poly because the model's gonna go over this. So
Yeah.
really
I
big.
think make this wall would be with a model program would be maybe a bit easier. So you can have
So just this entire wall.
yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But I just wanted, and I also want the arch, to be a model because we don't have smoothing groups. So this will actually look a lot better if this was probably modeled. And what we can also do is actually make this curve 2 and make this a conjunction between this here and here. You can just use the Boolean tool, I believe, and you can just connect these two arches with another arch here, and it'll actually make like a tunnel. But I'm just using what I have available in the editor right now. So
I could see
at
some
least,
kind
like-
of like railway some kind of like train station girder kind of thing on those along the ceiling.
Yeah.
like going across.
So like yeah, I was thinking like some support too. So you would like that, and then what you can do is that you can then this is a little bit too thick, so and then this is only like an hour of work, so it's not really that great. So and then you can do is this is like another idea like that. So like something well, that's a little bit. This is actually
Man, you're faster than me.
yeah. Again, most of it comes from Hammer, so ignore the clipping. But that's like what we can do for support. It's just and
Yeah,
maybe we can make
something
this,
something like that.
and then maybe we can make this like kind of an arch too. What I can do actually is that I can just copy these brushes, um, export them as a GLTF, and then like send them to Andy or Marcel or someone, and they can just go in and just be like, they don't have to get the dimension because obviously, as I mentioned before, I have dimensions here, but I don't have dimensions here for some reason. I don't know why,
Okay.
but they can go in and be like, okay, they can just export this, and then they could say, okay, and then they could just model around my brushwork, and then they could just put it in, and as long as they mesh, follow like they like get their models like close to like the rough brush outline, it would just fit. So, so that's so I'm probably just gonna finish like this area, and then I'm just gonna upload upload the map, and I'm probably and if to save them time, I'm probably just gonna export the things I want modeled and modeled around.
Should be. We should really do something with the fence, like in keycard behind, and the player needs to blow up one vent with some C4 or something.
Well, or we
Really
can
cool.
yeah. Well, it depends
But
like what.
I don't know how long it takes to get particles, because for explosion, of course, you need particles.
Yeah, so if we have
That's pretty
if we
easy.
have yeah, if we have technology or a feature that we kind of want to demonstrate as many features of the engine as possible. So if we have like a feature, it's like, oh, we want to demonstrate this, but we don't. We should probably find a reason to demonstrate it. Right now,
Yeah.
I just wanted to demonstrate like I'm taking every room as like what am I showing off on the engine? Am I showing like here I want to show off tessellation, I want to show off the shadow maps, I want to show off non squared environments and how you can you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
here
I
it's
mean this is
fine
the
because
first this is the first point where you see something that's not a box
yeah,
in the
so
level design,
yeah,
which is
so
okay
but
because I mean this.
right, because the idea is that you kind of want something for every level developer because you want to start them out with boxy designs so they can get the head around it, and
Huh.
then
Yeah.
and then if they want to do something like a little bit more detailed, then you have the tunnels,
We're
and
not in
then
Minecraft anymore.
yeah, yeah, but the offices will show off like lighting and like how to properly set up the probes and it still has its purpose, but it's gonna show off those features in a more cleaner environment.
I think Klepto did some cool volumetric lighting. I'm not sure if he's done, but we could ask if he can use his shader maybe for some volume lights.
Maybe we can. Right now, yeah, it all depends. We're not in that stage yet where we're trying to make things look pretty. We just want to get it all shelled out first and have an idea of what we want to do. But once we get to the where we try to make things pretty, I think we're going to start looking at shaders. We're going to start looking at material effects. We're going to start looking at. What did I grab?
Yeah, I would like to have.
That's a bug.
I would like to have volumetric lighting just baked it. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a bug.
Okay, good find. Um, I would
Well,
like to have
can I?
volumetric lighting like baked in. And the way he did it is he made a post processing effect. First, I made a
Mhm.
post processing effect, and then he took what I made and he made it. He just made a much better version of it. But I kind of think I think there's another way I would like to try doing it because I think it might be a lot more optimal. This other way I have, without going into too much detail. But yeah, it's definitely something I think is very cool looking.
I think it would look cool when the volumetric lighting is shining through the vents, and yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, I mean this is where you want to like show off that. And it'll make sense because there's gonna be a lot of dust in the air here. While in the office, it's not really that much.
Yeah, it would look. Yeah, it would look kind of weird upstairs. So my primary concern is hands because it's been a month now and we still don't have those. So let's check with Marcel today, and
Mm,
I have some other ideas if we can't make them ourselves.
right.
So, but yeah, it's oftentimes when you have something that you're stuck on, sort of
Mhm.
like it's really best to just stay stuck until you become unstuck, instead of going into. There's always like a temptation to of like, well, I have this problem, I can't figure out how to solve it, so I'm going to focus on something else. And the problem is like there's an infinite number of other things you can spend your time on. So my general approach has always been like I tend to focus on whatever I'm the most worried about. So
Right.
like the gameplay, the actual mechanics of it and stuff, I'm not really worried about. The level design, I'm not. There's still some things to work out, but I'm not worried about it. But the hands, the visual weapon, I am worried about that. So that's why I keep harping on about
Or-
it. But we'll get that figured out.
Yeah. Well, I'm again when I was a little bit concerned starting the underground tunnels, especially with like the tools I have right now, because I don't have displacements. I don't have um a lot of things I would need to like make it look good. But so I'm just like showing out like I'm just like I just draw something. I just do it on my iPad like the night before, and then I was like, oh, what should I do here? I look at your drawing, your mock-up, and I'm like, okay, what would actually make sense gameplay wise, second, showcase wise, and whatnot. And then I just doodle or whatever, and then that's usually Friday night, and then Saturday I join the stream and I just map while I listen. So,
Cool.
so yeah,
Cool.
so yeah, so I don't think we should have another vent in your drawing. You had another vent before the final like warehouse area. I think that's what I'm gonna make the last room. It's gonna be like a huge warehouse. There's gonna be like stairs and like a lot of like scaffolding and all that. And I think that's what I want that final area to look at. Like
We definitely want space to move around in.
yeah, it's gonna be very spacious. The best example is that Left 4 Dead map in Blood Harvest. I think it's the third map. You come out, you
I
come
know
out to
that. I know what you're talking about.
yeah. I kind of want to. I'm gonna look at that map again and try to take notes.
Like
But that's kind
you
of
come off the box car, and then you come down into the warehouse, and you go up a ramp, and you have to go like basically around you have to go around the whole perimeter of the thing to get to get out of it, right?
it's like the big warehouse before the emergency door. In Left
Oh,
4 Dead.
that one. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Where you start off
like
in
very
in the scaffolding, and then you drop down.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I kind of want to
okay.
take notes from Blood Harvest. I don't have the VMFs anymore. I have them backed up, but I can just launch the game and just put cheats on and just look around. But which would probably be easier. But I know something else I want to do. I want to get cheap water in. I know we don't have animated textures right now.
Mhm.
But if I could just make like a dummy glass material with that normal map, it at least will convince the idea. This is the beginning. It's like the third map. It's like not. This is the original. Oh, it's like right before this, actually. Maybe. No, this is the first map. I'm sorry. That's the finale.
I think it's like towards the beginning, like towards the
It's like
ending.
mid.
There
It's
it
like
is.
midway. Yeah, this area.
Whoa.
This area.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like this actually.
And see, I don't know if we can get the windows because we're deep underground, but I like the ceiling. I like the supports. I like how spacious it is. But it's like not empty, but it's like there's a lot of place to move around, but it's not empty. That's what I like about this. Maybe we can steal from this and actually put like a train car or something. I don't know. It depends what we have.
So that's like receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
See. Yeah. And this is the original Left 4 Dead, so you could actually stay and camp after you open that door. In Left 4 Dead 2, they make you run for it.
How do they make you run? They just keep.
Oh, the horde doesn't stop unless you get to the safe house.
Oh,
but
okay.
but nine out of 10 players just ran for the safe house anyway. So
Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Also, something helpful would be back in days, the terrain was an entity, right? So we could assign components to the terrain. I think this would be also helpful if we could, assign components to the terrain again.
Well,
For what?
If you want to, to interact with the terrain, or that the terrain is doing something, for example.
Like what? But like what's an example of what you would do?
For example, I would like to assign a component to the terrain that I can save some values where I removed a tree, for example, so that after like 15 seconds or 15 minutes, I could respawn this tree again. Because at the moment it's possible to set the mesh layer instance hidden, right? It's no problem.
Yeah.
But if you want to respawn this tree, for example, after a given amount of time, then you need to store something like at which time you remove this tree.
Well, wouldn't the object that was responsible for removing it, wouldn't it also be responsible for restoring that?
Yeah, you could also do it like this, but I think there could be some even more stuff where you can actually have some components for the terrain. I'm not sure if it's a big deal or not to have something like this.
In the originally the terrain was treated. I mean, the terrain is an entity no matter what, but like originally the terrain was treated as an object just like anything else in the editor. And then I think in 096, so I think it's only on the beta branch. I kind of changed it to where the terrain no longer shows up in the scene tree, and also like the terrain is always scaled except vertically. You can scale it vertically here, but I made it so that by default, like the terrain can no longer be positioned or scaled. and it's just considered that there should just be like one in the center of the world. And I did that primarily because I was having a lot of difficulty getting the vegetation instances to line up exactly on the terrain. There was an update for that last week to where now the alignment is very very precise, which is nice. Um, Another thing that allows that I would like to do is I think the collision on the terrain between the player collision on the train, I think it could be better because there's some spots where there's like a little bit of a jitter or you hit like a weird angle and it kind of slows down. I would like to replace that with something really simple where it just um, gets the height of the terrain, and that's the player height. The player can't go below that. That would be the results of that would be very very smooth. Um, so and that would really not be possible if we were still allowing the train to be rotated around like that. So that's like one of the things that came as a result of that. Um, let's
It's
see.
not about the terrain rotation or something, just the option to add, yeah,
I know, but
some.
that's why I moved. That's why the terrain doesn't show up here anymore in the place where you would
Mm.
add components. Now we could
Well,
probably.
Wouldn't be possible that you just remove for the terrain class the transform part of this stuff?
Well, I mean, in the engine, you still can add components to the terrain because it's just an entity. Um, so it would be possible to have an interface here where you add a component. It would be possible to do that in the terrain panel. It's also possible to have like a component that you assign to like a pivot or something, or just some object that's just a placeholder, and um, that component could get the world's terrain. I think there is a command to retrieve the terrain for a world, and you still can create more than one, but um, yeah, I mean, there's a few different ways. I'm just like kind of thinking out loud.
Mm.
I'd say
Yeah.
maybe the best way to do that would be to just like create a pivot and then have a component that you add to the pivot, and then that component will perform actions on the train. That's the easy way to do it right now. Um, Other than that, I guess just like it would just require like some design decisions, like where to fit
Yeah.
that in.
well, I also want displacements too, like I said for the little pit area. I just want like a nice, just something. And maybe I was just thinking like maybe we can like there was a way to do two birds one stone kind of thing and use something we already have, but like make it like not for vegetation or large areas. Like, you know what I mean?
Let's see, mapping. Let's see. I was
Here
looking
I
at
still
a
use this source.
Yeah, I was looking at something really interesting last week. They have a blog. I have a let me go. I'm gonna go find it. This is really interesting. I want to show you guys this. I've got the URL on my other computer.
why? Oh, because I stopped this filter on. There you go. I'm gonna make this white.
Okay, let's see. I just posted a link in the chat here.
Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected. I just posted a link in the chat here. This is really interesting.
Right. The voice chat. Okay. Yeah, you also stopped streaming. So.
Oh.
Mhm.
Share your screen. Screen one. Go live. This is what Dear Esther actually looks like when they started developing. When you start,
Yeah.
it's just modeled with boxes basically because everything has to be divided into quads. That's what they started with. That is crazy.
Yeah, but it actually makes sense because it's kind of hard to iterate and test things if everything is a train at the start. So you could so like if there was like a way to like do this in Ultra Engine where you can just block out like a cliffside or something, and then just like have the engine just auto magic turn into a train, that'd be great.
Well, this is the magic part.
Yeah.
It still isn't very good. This is the best that it can do. And he's got a really cool video somewhere showing it's like a time lapse.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this is what I wanted. Okay. So starting.
Which engine is he using?
This is Source.
Okay.
So that's fairly smooth to start with, but it's still like you can see these sharp edges here and stuff. It doesn't look like much. And this goes on for like 8 minutes. You can just get an idea of how many small little adjustments it took. So I think there's really no other way to get. This produces the best results, but it also takes forever to do stuff like this. I don't see this ever replacing height map terrain because I don't think people are willing to. I mean, it takes so much labor to make anything good with this.
I think our terrain or height map terrain is good, or?
Yeah. Well, the thing that this does is, let's see. I think what they do extremely well is like cliffs. You could probably do most of this with height maps, but it does caves really well, and it's way better than voxels because voxels have a very distinct look. Yeah, this stuff looks really good. It does overhangs. It's just very labor intensive. So this is something I would like to have in the future, but it's a big feature. For our purposes, I think we could probably just use a tessellated plane very easily, and it would give the same results. Do you think?
Right. Yeah, I think so, but I think for right now, I kind of just want like a plane where I can just um distort right now. Like I think that's all I want. But going forward, yeah, if we can do things like caves and such.
Yeah, this is something I would really like to have in the future. And again, like it looks so much better than voxels. But like doing displacement brushes without doing the whole thing. That's probably something I don't want to do because it's like, I'll probably create something that turns out to be incompatible with how I do it, how I eventually implement it. And then I'll have to go back and do it again, or we have two different systems and.
Right.
Yeah, but I did think that video was very cool. I'll post a link to the video too, see if I can find it.
I adjusted the environment settings to my game scene. It looks much better now.
Can we see?
Yeah, I can make a screenshot out of it.
All right.
From the editor.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a preset for the world settings. Because that does bug me when I see like, let's see.
There it is. It's better than the old one. It's
nice.
So how far do you think of making 9.6 part of the release so we can start brainstorming 9.7? Obviously you want to finish the DLCs first because
Probably, yeah, because those are going to be really handy. Probably finish the DLCs, and I'm actually fitting like a lot of the stuff that we talked about. Like last week, we were saying, all the odds and ends in 09 that we'll put in 097. A lot of that stuff I think is already done.
right, but a lot of things I want to like discuss is like how should we do triggers? And you mentioned last week you wanted like portal volumes where you just disregard like sections of the map at a time to increase rendering time.
Mm-hmm.
Like how we'll do that, and like like things like that, like how prefab should look in the scene tree, and the undo system is still broken.
Yeah.
Like those, like actually, like quality of life, editor quality of life things, I think.
Oh yeah, with the prefab also, if you instance in prefab and if you drag it into the scene and then in the load event he's trying to look for an entity, but the prefab is alone in the scene. So I think the prefab is getting initialized when it's lost in its own scene.
Can you say that again, please?
So I created a prefab out of my zombie for the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I drag it into the scene again and start the game, it crashes because it can't find the player. So, in the enemy got a component where I assign the player entity, but I watched in the scene object,
Mm-hmm.
and the entity or the enemy, the prefab enemy, is alone in the scene. There is no other entity except it's itself. So what I think it's getting loaded in its own scene. So he can't find the another entity which related to it. Kind of hard to describe.
No, I think I know what you're saying. So I okay. Yeah, I'll investigate that today. I actually think I know what you're. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think, and if not, then please describe it in a bug report, and I'll look more closely at it. Yeah, this does look good.
The lightning, the terrain I need to design. It's using imposters only for LODs. So there is only the model itself, and then the next LOD is the imposter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the only issue is the imposters don't cast shadows, so they're more for like very far away. Let's see what happens if I totally mess up the settings and just turn everything to default. 100. Ambient light, 0. IBL intensity, all the way. And all our lighting is gone. Yeah, so this is what it would look like with the default settings. And I think what's going on is the IBL intensity, it makes sense for something that's exposed to the sky, but when you have a bunch of trees and stuff around, then that would get dimmed quite a lot. So yeah, I liked it better how it was.
Yeah, I think the import-export makes absolutely sense. It's
Yeah, that would be very handy. Okay, that's another thing I think I can definitely add like in this week. Did everybody see Alien Head's he's got horses you can ride?
Nuts.
Although I gotta say, like the camera shake like bothers me a lot.
the horse is eating something which is not there.
Oh, that's just the animation.
It's an invisible field.
Yeah. For horse behavior, you gotta look at Breath of the Wild, so your horses are less like cars, because the horses in Breath of the Wild actually like kind of behave how a horse would actually behave. Like it just runs around trees and such. You don't have to like tell it not to like not crash into a tree.
Yeah, I
That might
think
be
you
why.
could-
Oh, was that Alien Head?
No, it's me. You could also look in. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is really
Yeah.
awesome. The horses.
Yeah, I haven't played Red Dead, but I played Breath of the Wild because I'm a big Zelda fan. And one of the things they like talked about was like how
Yeah.
natural the horse was.
This is really
I think
cool.
it's awesome.
It's cool, yeah.
And this is the best part. Oh, this is really cute. She pets the horse, and it makes the horse purr.
Yeah, this is cool.
Watch out! Oh! Yeah, that's great. And this is all done in Lua.
Pain.
Very, very cool. I don't think Alien Head has a microphone. Or maybe he's not at his keyboard. Who's crying? I saw like a little crying face. Where did that?
Yeah, that's just Discord.
What? Okay.
All right. So if anything you need me to do, regardless, because I think I did all I can do with the tunnels at this point.
Yeah, I think we're kind of stuck right now. I mean, there's other things we could be doing, but I don't want to move on until like as long as we don't have our hands, then all of our efforts somehow should be into making that happen. And I want that to be where all of my focus is. So I kind of don't want to move on with anything else. I want to get the hands up, and then at that point, then that's where I will start programming like actual gameplay behavior.
Right. And so I guess you're just gonna put as many fixes and updates to 9.6 until then, and then 9.7 we can worry about quality of life features and updates to benefit the project, which will then benefit everyone else. Because
Well, I think
Yeah.
I guess the DLCs are kind of the limiting factor, and I just need to like use this system more and make sure
Mhm.
everything's working the way it should.
yeah,
Okay.
and you'll actually like understand like pain points using it instead of just making it. You know what I mean? It'd be like the environment world settings, being able to import and export settings. You're like, oh yeah, I really wish that was there, and
Yeah,
I
just
wish I
like yeah,
could,
little things like that where you can just find like something small that makes
yeah,
an improvement very handily.
yeah. I wish I
And
can toggle my post processing effects without actually removing it, and all that nonsense.
yeah, there's let's see. Oh yeah, tone mapping. That's the thing I'm missing. Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. Andy, did you put tone mapping in your scene?
No, I can't take it in.
I would try it. Put it like the very last. That just makes everything pop so much better.
I have no effect in yet. In the game, in the first player controller and the camera, I got the God rays in,
Oh, okay.
but I think I can put it out in the code itself and can put it into the environment settings, and it should be taken from this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
I
new
think-
favorite thing. I'm thinking about putting the the post processing effects in a separate folder called effects.
Yeah, the
This is
shaders are
why.
kind of missing.
If I put the tone mapping on, it's getting really bright.
Well, what you can do then is like adjust. Maybe you need to reduce the brightness of the sun or something else.
Yeah, the IBL is on 10, so I think it's the sun, the brightness.
But I just find it makes it just makes it look normal to me. Like without tone mapping, everything looks very flat and like it feels like I'm struggling to make everything brighter, even though I already have. Yeah, the brightness is already at 400% almost, but it's like struggling to be bright enough. And then when you have the tone mapping, it's like, oh, okay, now everything looks the way it should. But
This
I'm
is with the adjusted brightness. Got the settings open also.
okay. So that looks pretty close to the original. Let's go back and look at that. I don't know. Those look pretty close.
Yeah.
I've just noticed, like, especially with this kind of stuff, that's when I noticed like a huge difference. But I'm thinking about putting the effects in a separate folder, and the reason for that is when you open the selector here, you get this like all these shader folders, and then you have to scroll down.
You have to it's kind of makes it like difficult to know what is a post processing effect and what isn't.
Well, it only shows the FX files,
Right.
so it's not showing the shader families, but it's still just having all those folders there.
Mm-hmm.
In Unity, the post-process effects got some own values, so you have editor fields you can adjust, for example, brightness and other stuff.
Yeah, I'm planning on putting that actually, like that's what this space right here is, and if I need to make that window a little bit taller, I'm planning on dedicating the bottom half of this to adjustable effects.
Right.
And some of those have already been programmed into the shaders like that. I just haven't done it yet.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'll be very nice to have some sliders here for like
how intense.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah, I missed. Yeah, because in Leadworks, there was like the bloom shader was like a little bit too much, and you had to like edit the script itself. And for a designer, they don't want to be editing shaders or anything. So
yeah, I think our defaults in Ultra are a lot better.
Right.
So like the bloom, which you can see here, the way I did this is I did a like if the value first I combined the blurred value and the original value, and then what I did is I like ramped it off if the brightness of the blurred value is below 0.5, then it does like a linear decrease, and so that way you have brightness like in the bright areas without it, but you have like sort of like conservation of energy, so it's not like a runaway. You don't have like runaway brightness bleaching everything out. And then in the dark areas, the bloom effect is pretty much non-existent, which is what I wanted.
Right.
That was the bloom adjustment that I was talking about last week.
Yeah. Kepler also suggested a while back of adding a button to access the world's environment. The world settings instead of going to your menu.
Probably have to put that on the left.
Yeah. I don't know, because sometimes I stumble to find it. Sometimes I'm like, where is it?
The menu.
Yeah.
I think that is a good candidate, and we have some remaining space. Let's see, what else would we? The other thing I thought about putting up there was like a run game kind of dialogue,
Maybe.
but I think we're running out of space.
Right. And you don't want it to be too busy, so.
So we could put a button here, like right here. That would be a good
Mhm.
place for it. What is there anything else we would want to put in a group with it?
Like the run game.
No, the world settings.
Um,
The snapping. Toggle the snapping.
I think that would
Because
we could do that with a menu item up here.
Yeah, or maybe with the gizmo, if you hold, if you got the transform gizmo, and if you pressed Alt or something, then it's not toggling at all.
Oh, I like something. Yeah, I like that idea actually. Something
also,
like that.
I want an indicator on the bottom saying grid snapping is on or off if we're going to make it toggleable like that.
Or if you would now hold Alt and move it, then you could adjust it without snapping.
Yeah, like freeform mode.
Let's see. So shift is
Duplicate.
gonna duplicate it. Why does a box just look so good in the middle of the forest? It looks cool.
It's like a slab of concrete.
Yeah. Alt. What does Alt do? I don't think Alt does anything right now.
Oh, it does nothing on the transform.
That would be pretty cool because then it's just like. Okay,
That
so on the
tiny
transform
detail.
it doesn't do anything. Rotation doesn't do anything. Scale it doesn't. Oh, scale it'll make it bigger and smaller.
It's a uniform.
Like
But
yeah,
I think
that makes uniform scale.
I think that instead of like having a switch, I think a better option would be if you hold a special key. This way you can get it because usually it's like one of those weird instances where you just went off the grid to make it look natural, but you don't want to like go to your settings and change things
Yeah.
for that one object.
Yeah, I agree. I
So
agree with like, yeah, it's just like a small adjustment thing that you want. So okay, I could also see that being useful for scale, right? Like for this situation here, if I didn't want this to be aligned just temporarily, if I just wanted to hold down a key and have it not be aligned to the grid, have it not like snap to the grid. But with scale, we already are using the Alt key for uniform scaling like that. So what should we do?
Do you use the control key?
Maybe. Let's see. The control key, I don't think it does anything for anything else. Oh, let's see.
This.
Okay, if I hold the control key, okay. I think it switches into select. It forces like select mode. And I think the reason for that, okay, let's switch over to creation, the creation tool. Well, control is your not select, is your unselect toggle. So if I click on this and then I click on it again, nothing happens because it's already selected. If I hold the control key and click on it, it deselects it.
Yeah, so the Alt key makes the most sense.
But we're already using the Alt key here. and I would like it to work with scaling too.
Yeah. But we have only 3 modifier keys. I think we can't just create an on keyboard with 4 modifier keys.
We got to do it.
What about using the numpad for things?
No numpad.
Well, I'm just looking at my numpad and noticing that that's the side of the keyboard with the most amount of dust on it. So
No, because the number pad is on the right side,
right,
and you're gonna be using the mouse with your right hand usually.
right.
I don't know. Like
Well-
I'm the control key might work. I'm open to different ideas on this, but I do like the idea. Yeah, just let's keep thinking about it and see if we can come up with something. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. What other tools I keep adjusting?
What happened with control control alt if you press both together?
It explodes. So it's
Okay.
sort of like forcing. I think it's forcing like select mode. Yeah, it starts drawing a box like a selection box like that. I could probably change that behavior, but it's not. I don't know.
It's not optimal.
It might not be.
Yeah, or a keybind that you can toggle it on or off, but then you need to see it somewhere if grid snapping is active or not.
Yeah, just like Control Grid G or something like that. So the next step I'd say is like put a grid snap. Should it be an edit or view?
I think edit, huh?
Yeah, because you're editing, because it's an edit tool.
Okay.
Also, if you're gonna another feature I want out of the settings and be more toggleable is show grid on brushes and such. Instead, because sometimes I want it and other times I don't. So when you're shelling out, you kind of want it, but when you're designing, you don't.
Okay.
Because the grid gets in the way of like your
Yeah, that
textures
would
and
make sense up here. Have that in a
Yeah.
view. Okay, I like that. Well, if we have okay, so we have all these. We have increased grid size, decreased grid size, and then we'll have show grid on brushes. Grid snap would probably fit with that group of things.
Yeah, but it's not. It's more of an edit than a view. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
That's
I
like
mean, there's an art to categorizing these things. Like, I don't always put
Right.
things in their logical place. Sometimes I put them where they
Right.
belong. Where they belong.
It's like on Mercedes. If you buy a Mercedes, every button, 100 people are thinking about how to position the buttons in the car at the right spot.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, the German cars, I love them, but the user design, the user interfaces are not good. I have an Audi, and it's like,
Yeah, well,
if you want to turn the air conditioner on, you have to pull on this lit up button, and the button, then the light turns off when the
Yeah.
air conditioner is on, and then when you turn it off, then the light comes on.
yeah, well, the cars in Germany are basically our best product to export, and our government is to decide to shut down the oil engines
Oh,
until 2030. So yeah.
yeah. But the reason I like them is because the steering on them is so precise. It's so very cool. Like I can't. It's hard to drive another car after that because it just feels like you're driving like a boat. All right. So,
Yeah,
what's that?
Yeah, they're cool. I said the tribe is
Yeah,
good.
yeah, they're very cool. I'd like to get. Yeah, I have a few. After Ultra makes more money than I have some others I would like to buy. Maybe you can get me a good discount. Uh, so for the vegetation, what I've got is pine trees. I've these come from Pure 3D. So the developer over there allowed me permission to use these, so we should be very grateful to him. Um, I've got pine trees, I've got oak trees, I've got then some birch and some beech trees, but I think pine and oak are the two major ones. And then for ground cover, I've got a lot of ground cover. I've got a lot of flowers and plants, and let's see if I can find some of these ferns. Um, yeah, these ferns look really good, and they do a nice job of covering up the ground. And I think if I combine that with some um, materials from like ambient CG, just pick out some ones and match the grass. We've got some really good grass. So I think we will have quite a lot for some forest environments, and then in the future, I think tropical and desert are like two other ones that we can add. And I think these look. I think this is a good baseline. It might be possible to come up with stuff that looks better than this, but if we have this in people's hands first, then we can use this to work with, and then anything that we do beyond this has to look better than this. And this, I think this looks pretty good.
I think it's the DLC, right? And I think another good DLC, maybe even a paid DLC, would be a spline tool that you can create roads or rivers.
That's probably a feature that I'll just add into the engine proper. That's something I have in mind. Like vehicles and then roads and rivers, all of those things sort of go together.
Well, just splines in general. Splines has been a major request. Not only used for like roads and rivers, but like ropes and all that. Because I kind of want, I kind of want like to have like two ropes where they like where you can like just set them up.
My roads are this right now. Wait, I post a screenshot.
Your roads are what?
Sec. These are my roads at the moment. I am uploading it. So basically, brushes.
Well, what you'll probably be able to do in very short order is do some dirt roads, and then once I add decals, you can add some decals down that will add some like tread to it that will look pretty good. I plan on doing roads in a way that's like basically it's a version of the decal system, except it's attached to a terrain and it's only in 2D. It's not, decals are 3D, and I plan to add like stamps on the terrain and roads, which are like a variation of the same thing, and those are a little bit more efficient because they're only 2D. So each the terrain will be divided up into like a grid, and each grid there'll be like a texture that references the index of each stamp or road piece that is visible on that patch, and then it'll just do a texture lookup on those. That's how I plan on doing it. Excuse me. But
I think roads would be cool, but they are not that necessary now.
yeah, it's something that can wait until after 1.0, but that is like one of the things that I would plan on doing, like in an update after that. Probably not a paid update because I don't think it's that big of a feature, but that would be a nice thing for like 1.1. So after 096, then all we've got left to do is particles and decals, and neither of those are super difficult.
I want my strip lights.
Well, I've got a nice spot right here for it, so I think we can probably do that too.
Been asking for that because you added it like years ago, and I remember like back and then it's like the only way you could like put it in the map was like you use a lead. This is when you could use the Leadworks editor, with Ultra Engine. You had to like make a like hack in like a script,
Yeah,
and that was like the only way you could do it. And I was having so much fun with that. It's like, oh, I could use this for lasers. I could use this for this. I could use this for that.
lightsabers.
And then, yeah, it's just so cool. And it's like one of those light entities that like only like I like think about. But if you have it in the editor, I think more people will appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think for an icon, we just need like a little like fluorescent light kind of fixture here. Would be
Yeah.
very cool.
And
Where do
the
you get
water. The water we need.
Oh
also.
yeah.
Like, yeah, we need like ocean water, and we need a way to make like brush water, like source water, like for smaller like. But that'll be with like shader effects and everything. Where you just have it animate the normal map.
I think in Unity, I was using Unity before I switched to Leadworks a few months ago, and they had just a water plane, so it's not that big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying right now we can't because we don't have a way to animate textures right now.
Yeah,
Well, so there's the water
Mhm.
which Klepto is doing, which
Which
looks
looks amazing.
fantastic. I think he needs to adjust his world settings here because the island here would look a lot better if he did. But-
He's more worried about his water, but
Yeah,
but-
the
but
water.
You need to see what the performance is with Kleptos Water. He is working on the performance, I think, and if you have a terrain, if you have a game which also have some logic behind, and then the water, yeah, could be getting really low with this water system. I think
he's also doing 512 by 512, and I think we can probably, I think we can have it adjustable, and if we switch to 256 by 256 for the resolution, then the performance will go 4 times faster.
I think there is some old water in the repository, right? Some water plane or something like this.
In the what?
In GitHub, you linked some water material.
Where?
In the Discord, it was
He did?
just-
Or
No, wait, you did. It was in on GitHub.
I think was that the water normal?
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a material with water.
Oh,
Was that
okay. Okay, so there's this type of water which is
This is
like
really
a big
cool, yes.
big open ocean water, and then
In your GitHub, there was some
Yeah,
public
yeah.
GitHub.
Yeah, there was the normal, but there's no way to animate the normal right now without a shader effect.
and then there's another way you can do it, which is okay, so in Ultra every surface is reflective. Even these trees are reflective. The grass is reflective. The bark is reflective. And so if you just have an animated normal map, then you can do pretty good water with that. And you
Yeah.
don't. And what's nice about that is like in Source Engine, it has to render the scene, and in Leadworks, it has to render the scene twice so that it can so that it can get the reflection in. But with Ultra, we can actually just use PBR and screen space reflection, and that way we could have reflections. We could have like a little pool here, and then another one here, and another one here, and they don't have to be at the same height. and
Right.
we can have each of them can reflect the environment around them.
Yeah, something like this would be, I think, for now enough, because I someone else was asking for it, right? It was this I think one guy joined a few days ago.
Yeah, I haven't really like paid much attention to water because I know that it can be done, and so I'm not too worried about it. And I do have some pretty good animated normal maps that I wrote a. It's basically a fluid simulation that makes a looping animation. So that I'm not too worried about.
The water and networks was really slowing down everything. I remember.
Yeah, that's because it had to. That's because it had to render the whole scene as a reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in Cyclone, I just used the environment probe for my goo,
Yeah,
and then I just
it looked
and
very
I
good.
just scrolled. Yeah, I just scrolled the normal. I didn't animate. I just scrolled it.
But yeah, we are really close to have very important utility, at least for what I think about at the moment.
Cool. Yeah. So did the additions last week? Are you guys finding those useful?
I like the terrain tools; they are pretty good. Even if I not started to made my level, but level design is the next part. So in my game, I got for at least for prototype, I got many stuff done. So the next part or the next weeks, I will do level design in my game. And
Yes.
for this I need the terrain tools, of course.
So this is what Andy was asking for a long time. If you hold the Alt key when you have the sculpt tool,
Yeah.
then you can go like that, and it gives you a little bit more control over like one area. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you could even rise at one point and then flatten it, so you can create a flat surface. For example, if you want to create some village now here in this forest, you could create it. It's pretty good. So you could just flatten it.
Yeah, and I use the flatten tool quite a lot.
It's pretty good.
And then when I mess it up like that, I just use the smooth tool. That brings it back.
I think this tool was really important to make a proper level, at least a proper outdoor level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually did use that. I actually did use that quite a lot over here, like when I was experimenting with these cliffs. And the reason I came up with this was because I was looking at the cliff sides in Dear Esther, and I noticed they were like really sharp. It was like 90 degrees, and I realized like, wow, that actually looks like a lot better when you do it like that.
I think also a good example for how an outdoor scene should look is the forest, and the Forest 2, the game.
Oh, the game. Oh yeah, the forest. Okay.
It's basically it's just an outdoor level, and you need to build some stuff in order to survive. And they made a great wood.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Let's see, and I want this to use probably vertical. But yeah, this allows you to get like really steep there. And then I probably want to paint this over with, I want that to be more rock. Yeah.
I posted something from the game.
Is there a way to have the tools like when you sculpt that like tools like very bright, like almost to be annoyingly bright?
Oh,
Is there a way? Yeah, because it's being manipulated by the post processing.
You could do them you could make that camera appear after the post processing effects, maybe. Could probably do that. That might be a good idea.
Yeah, because it's like
Yeah,
too
it
bright. And
is. Yeah.
I don't know how looking like in a monitor that supports like HDR or like 500 nits of brightness or whatever.
Oh, it's
But
bright.
yeah, like it might be an eyesore. So
Yeah, it's like glowing.
Mhm. It did that in Ledworks too. But
Yeah, there's a camera each. So for the viewport rendering, it actually uses a lot of cameras stacked up to get all the layers right. It might be. Let's see. Now that doesn't have any glow on it that I can see.
no, the outline is fine.
Ah,
Oh, I know
when
why
we
it's
are on,
happening.
Mhm.
Okay, so all right, so the widget you'll see this isn't glowing like really bright. The outlines here are not glowing really bright.
Mhm.
The reason for that is the best way I found to render this.
Mhm.
The only thing I could find that would really get everything to line up perfectly was to actually program this rendering into the terrain shader itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Mm.
the alternative would be to have this be a mesh and have it like conform to the terrain, have each vertex conform to the terrain height. But it wouldn't be exact, so it would still like on stuff like this, especially you would have even if I raised it up a little bit, it wouldn't be. You would have like the terrain would be sort of intersecting it.
also
Right.
the object is not having this. So if you watch from the top of it and want to edit the terrain, you don't see the circles anymore because they are under the cube or under the brush.
Oh, yeah, you've got a good point.
I mean, for the sculpting, it's not that difficult, but for the placement, for example.
Yeah,
But I think this is it's because you programmed in the terrain shader, right? So
right.
yeah, it gets rendered on the terrain itself.
Yeah, that's what's happening. I don't know. Um, and another thing that does get brought up often is we have had a lot of requests for like different brush shapes here. So instead of having it like these two rings where you have
Radius.
the outer and the inner radius,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
we have had people ask for it to be more like an image. Um,
Uh, yeah, like in Unity, got this. So you have alpha textures, so black and white textures, and with these textures you can define some brush or I think brush is the right word for it.
yeah,
Some
so I'm
paintbrush.
open. I'm open to that. We'll just have to try it and see if it. Yeah, I like that. I like that really. Like that, it does. I mean, of course, it's a sharp angle. It does look a little bit weird, but like, I actually think it does look better for cliff sides. It makes it look less like. It doesn't just look like a blob. It looks like it has more definition. Anyways,
Yeah, often you also cover the cliffs with some mesh models. So you on near the ground you just place some cliff models.
yeah, we've actually got a lot of rocks on the way. Actually, let's see if he's still here. Alienhead has actually been working on. Has been doing some LODs for us there. So We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see how that goes. But
we're
so
actually
like,
pretty.
what's that?
I would say we are actually pretty close to like the pictures I post here from the forest too, to have a living, and actually and real forest.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I can talk to the most of. I know the. I've figured out like who the people who make most of that stuff, most of that content, that third party, those models and stuff. I can talk to them, and I can get those. You know, some way somehow I can make those available to you guys more easily. Even if I have to convert all the files myself and set up the colliders and everything for the author, like we can use this stuff, the same exact models. I'm starting with the stuff that we have easy access to and control over. That, but in the future, like, I don't know where the screenshot went, but the desert shot I showed you and the stuff we're seeing here, like, we can use these exact same models and they'll look exactly the same. It'll just run faster.
Just only because I'm thinking about it. What about wind? Like you said, that would be easier to implement.
Yeah, I just what you really need is you need some control over how much each vertex should be affected. So like down here, like the base of this flower, that should not be moving around. So I was thinking we have a vertex property for displacement. And this is meant for use with tessellation, but we could reuse it. We could use that for that displacement property for like how much that vertex waves around. We just need like a way to assign that. So I'm thinking the script extension that like converts the red channel of the vertex to the displacement and then changes the vertex color to white. I think that's probably how I would process these flowers and stuff like that. And you can do the same exact thing with the trees. You just want
I think the wind should be a world setting, and it should take physics into calculations, like into consideration. So, like, if you want like a swing set, right, and you want like the environment to be like have like a certain wind factor, it should not only affect like the trees and like the grass and everything. It would actually like move the swing or whatever. But that's like physics, so.
Let me think. I need to think about that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's that, and there's the physics, and then like for plants, like we had this in Leadworks. We just also want like a simple equation that just kind of makes this stuff move a little bit. Just very gentle, not fast, but just like very gently.
Yeah, but if you want like a storm or something, you actually want those trees to ruffle a little bit faster.
Yeah. One thing at a time.
Yeah. Well, one thing with the fans, I was like thinking like, because the fan is pushing that air, and I was like, oh well, I want something. I want like either like, I was like thinking of ways of how we can like demonstrate how to simulate physics with the fans. Like maybe there will be like, it won't be like part of like the like, you don't have to do it, but maybe like one of the offices I plan to put in once I get more information, figure out some things that you can actually like push a button and then the fan goes really, really fast and starts blowing everything away. Just so as like as a demonstration of like physics and interaction. But again, it depends.
The easy way to do that is to have like a field, have like a
brush
like a volume,
and
then it's just like add a force to everything within this volume.
Yeah, a push trigger. But like for the outside, you can't really do that because it's outside. So you kind of want like.
No, you can have a really big one, but.
Yeah, but you kind of want like it's like oh, it's very very windy, so you like see you see like swing sets move and everything in the
Yeah.
map and have that be like adjustable by a component too.
This is hard. I think you would need something like a sphere or something else, which impacts the entities around the sphere. I think you could make it with an component like, yeah, you create an sphere, and when when you activate the physics, the entities which assigned to the sphere get an
Yeah.
impact. It's I can't explain. My English is not that good to explain something like this, but yeah, I know at least from Bullet that you can impact entities from different sides, and then they get knocked away. And I think this should be also possible with Newton.
Yeah, that should be no problem. All right. So I'm about ready for lunch. Have we got anything else to talk about?
Nothing too urgent, but yeah, I'm done.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Let's see. Somebody's typing something. This was mad interesting. Loving it so far. Hello, Mizo. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, we'll have more stuff, more interesting stuff coming out next week. And
Yep.
thank you all for joining. And I'll see you on the forums.
Yep.
See ya. Have a good one.